can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free.
Full house today. Pierzynski, Kratz, Braun, and Kipnis. Now, Kip, you didn't have to graduate college to be on the show. I just wanted to let you know. I mean, congratulations, dude. Congratulations, grad. Oh, look, you brought a prop.
A prop. This is the real deal. Field right here.
Yeah. Oh, that's game worn?
This is game worn memorabilia.
Damn. How much can we get for that?
Where's the tassel?
Not much.
Did you hang?
So I accidentally I have the other tassel that's going to be in the frame with the diploma, but then there's two of them. The second one I accidentally left in a pocket and it got into the wash.
He gone.
He gone. Did you celebrate?
What?
Did you celebrate well, like you should have?
No, we got. I was with my family. We had like Illuminati's out there in AZ, and just where we rented a big Airbnb. So we had my aunt and uncle, my mom and dad, my sister, and it was just fun. It was that's the celebration I wanted.
Yeah, you did celebrate. That's a celebration. Yeah, there's different levels of celebrate. I didn't say, hey, did you go to Vegas for 72 hours? But you brought the fam in. That's good.
There's no more going out with bottle service anymore. That doesn't exist.
Those days are over.
How do you? I mean, it's pretty awesome. You did graduate from college, since you're the only one on this show today that can say that. Yours doesn't count.
Mine was in Florida. Yours
doesn't count. But
that really doesn't count.
Graduate from Arizona State. If you live not in Arizona State.
What?
That's where the degree was, so I just finished it through the online classes.
Oh,
that's where I'm going.
He lives not in Arizona.
Oh.
And he graduated from Arizona. So I thought you actually had to go to college.
I almost thought of going there for the winters, though, because
why didn't you?
Because I'm an idiot. I'm the same idiot that came back home to Chicago winters for the off season. So I don't know. Chicago's home, but it almost was enticing enough to go to Arizona to actually go to the classes to be able to knock out it faster. Because then if I was there, I could have done like one or two classes or maybe even three at a time. Instead, I was just doing kind of one each session. So it took me a little bit.
Do you look down on people now? Do you look down on people now that don't have college degrees?
100%.
Nice.
I'm not even happy I'm talking to you, to be honest.
I have a college degree. Sorry, I've had it for a long time.
I paid for mine. You paid for it?
Yeah, a long time
ago. AJ, how far away are you?
Well, in order to get a college degree, how far away you have to start. So if you haven't even started yet, then how far away? I mean, I feel like I can get an Arizona State degree in a couple weeks.
Oh, those old ASU jokes are over. ASU is a good college.
Yeah.
Innovative.
I will say their broadcast program, even when I was in college, was elite and underrated at the time, and now it's properly rated. It's like top 3.
I mean, Syracuse is one.
Okay.
What's the next one? Northwestern?
I think Arizona State's too.
Oh, I don't know that. Who went to Arizona State that I should know about that is a broadcaster besides Kip?
Who went anywhere that you should know about besides Cuse? I don't know where anybody went to school. And there's some good Fordham people. There's a lot of good schools, obviously, but just the facilities, the training, all that at Arizona State, I know is pretty damn good. So anyway,
but wait, let's now that you're a graduate, does that mean you have to go to bad football games and watch them lose in double overtime, or is that part of the degree that you got?
It wasn't a bad football game until the refs decided to.
I knew it! I knew it.
Targeting. If that's not a targeting call, I still don't know what is. But also that the 4th and 13 or something, the double OT was heartbreaking. But it was an unreal game to go to. It was a lot of fun. They got punched in the face early, but they fought their way back, and they did everybody proud. It was an unreal season. So there's no complaints here. There's some complaints here, but there's no complaints for the team.
That was a college degree breakdown right there. So let's put them to the test.
There's no complaints except for a targeting call and refs, and
there's no complaints for the football
team. Bad play calling. I gotta admit, Scatterboo. What's his name? Scatterboo. That dude's a monster.
He's awesome.
He's good.
He's
You guys need to find a way to get him like 6 more years of eligibility.
Kratz, AJ could say anything, and I don't know what he's talking about. He could be like, Bugaboo at the 40-yard line? Dude, crazy.
The running back for ASU's name is Scataboo.
I like Bugaboo better. That's just
Big
me.
league name.
Anyway.
Big league name.
Yeah.
He's
That is a big league name.
He's fun to watch.
He's playing the wrong sport. All right, let's get to Verlander.
Boom!
I forgot that's the guy. Wait.
That's the guy.
Oh, wow. This has blown my mind.
I don't know.
You could get
yesterday,
add JD
I
Vance in there too, and you got three brothers.
I think this guy's even closer to AJ. Wait, so we got a comment from someone yesterday. I forgot to write down the name, but I sent it
wishes
to Claudia,
he looked like me with the
and
body.
they were like, Scataboo is
And you didn't
AJ.
know what they were. You thought they were lying.
No, I sent it to Claudia, to our producer, this morning and said, hey, can we get a side-by-side? One of the fans of FT said, we got to talk about this. And she's like, sure. So I forgot it was even there, and she just surprised us with it. That's Scataboo.
That's Scataboo.
Oh, wow.
What'd you call him?
Pierzynski.
Bugaboo.
My friend's kid says Bugaboo. Scataboo. Whoa, look at this.
He's got curlier hair than me.
Wait, is this you? Did you play?
Much better hair.
When was this game?
Scataboo wishes that he had my physique.
That's actually really
If I
good.
take my hair off, if I take my hat off right now, though, it's close.
Damn.
When was he
All right,
born?
good job by
Let's
the
get a check there. When was he born? What city? Where were you playing that year?
Oh man.
Oh man, now you're getting into bad.
Now you're going in the weeds. All right,
Yeah,
let's
now you're
charge
getting
the
way
mounds.
too deep.
Let's charge him out.
He's 22 years old.
Thank you. Woo, all right. Justin Verlander to the San Francisco Giants for $15 million. Kratz, you can start since you have some type of degree. What do you think about this fit for San Francisco?
Could you call me doctor? That would be great. I would appreciate that. I think it's great.
If you had a PhD.
I think it's great for San Francisco because they're a team that already has some decent deep pitching. You don't know what you're going to get from Verlander. You're not sure. He hasn't been able to pitch full seasons recently. You're sitting there going, okay, he's got a Cy Young when? When did he just win his last Cy Young? To me, you're going to get the most out of him in San Francisco. But you're going to say that about any pitcher. If Michael Lorenzen would have signed there, like you get guys who know how to pitch, who know how to stay away from big damage. Well, now all of a sudden it's tough to do damage in San Francisco. To me, I think it's a nice piece to slide in there because of some of their younger pitchers that they thought were going to have bigger roles, and he can teach those guys. Hopefully, if their development continues, they're going to be the ones that are going to help San Francisco down the line. But this year, I think it's a great signing.
We'll see. Father Time.
Wait, can
Father
I
Time.
give you a pop quiz?
Father Time's undefeated. And guess who, as Scott so eloquently predicted, was not on the playoff roster?
Justin Verlander.
Mm-hmm.
But wait. Just because I counted him out last year
I'm not saying that.
doesn't
I'm
mean
just
I
saying
count
we'll
him
have
out
to
this
see.
year. His stuff just didn't look
His
like
stuff wasn't where it was.
there.
So what? But again, Father Time even got Tom Brady.
Yeah, but it hasn't.
So is that
it
this
didn't
year?
really get Charlie Morton.
I don't know.
Yet.
Did it get him last year?
Hold
Because
on.
if you look at his stuff, it went.
Okay,
down.
everyone, ready for this? We all participate in this one. The same money was given out to Justin Verlander, Alex Cobb, and Charlie Morton. Who do you think has the most valuable year of those three players? Rank them. Who wants to start?
Charlie Morton.
How are we? I was going to say Charlie Morton. How are we doing value? Alex Cobb is hurt all the time.
Charlie Morton.
He's been hurt his entire
Verlander.
career.
Cobb.
I would go with the way Kratz did it.
I'm going, for me, if I was recruiting those three, Verlander for me has more upside than Morton at this point.
That's not.
But that's what I want.
That wasn't the question.
Okay, but who do you want? If you could sign any of those three for the same exact price, who do you want? I want Verlander. He's got more upside than Charlie at this point. Charlie's curveball's still good, but the rest of the pitchers are a little I mean, I think Charlie's a 4 or 5. I think JV, if he's pitching well, even if it's for 20 starts, he could be a 2 or 3. Nope.
I'm going to let Kip answer this.
He can. Cobb's health is going to keep him at number 3 on that one a bunch. I think JV's getting into that era where he's going to provide, I'm hoping, stuff off the field too and the tutelage to the younger guys. I do agree with AJ and stuff that if he was on the playoff roster last year, that is telling. But I also think if they're all healthy, I mean, his ceiling was always the highest of the three. But right now I have Morton at the 1.
Yeah,
Fair?
I just
'Cause
think
it's
Morton has
safe.
been consistently doing it for years.
safe.
He hasn't been hurt.
Yeah.
He's safe. You said, I mean, but how are we judging value? By WAR? By
Well, we
what
have
we
to do
look at?
something
By how his team
adjusted
does?
because look, Charlie
Let's also not
Morton's
forget, Verlander went to a tougher division.
what, NL West?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the AL East for Morton,
Morton's
With
done it, though. He's
Baltimore?
been in the NL East. He's been in the AL East. He's done that before.
JV pitches in San Francisco. Morton, I mean, Baltimore's okay now.
They
Although
moved
the
the
walls
fence back
are
in.
coming back in a little bit, AL East is still a pain.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I don't know. I still think Morton is going to be – Morton is the surer bet out of those three for me. And this is not a knock on Justin Verlander, but he's 42, 41?
Which
42.
is Morton. He's
42.
42. Morton's what, 41?
41.
Yeah.
So 41 is when last year was the first time I think that I've seen stuff-wise Verlander kind of fall off.
Mhm.
Right? And he said he wasn't hurt. I mean, I know he had some injuries. He came back. But that was the first time really that where you see his stuff kind of – it gets everybody. I don't care who you are. Jamie Moyer eventually had to retire too.
Mhm.
But he was throwing 80 when he retired,
Yeah.
not trying to throw 95.
Oof.
He's throwing 80 at his peak.
True.
Right.
Worst at bat ever.
Yours versus Moyer?
No, just the worst at bat ever.
Oh, just in
'Cause-
general. he
Because
was-
you're facing a guy throwing 80 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and he's talking trash to you when he gets you out. And you're like, dude, you're 55 years old out here getting me out. And there was it's like facing a position player. There's no positive to it. Because you're supposed to get a hit off the guy throwing 80, but then he carves you up and you're like, gosh, I feel dumb.
Yeah. He had an edge for a little bit. He was
I had
different.
this conversation with him last year in Seattle. I think Kratz was in the locker room.
You saw Moyer?
Yeah, he was in. We did the All-American
Yeah.
high school game.
Oh, right.
He was one of the coaches, and we had a whole conversation about him, you grounding out, and him running to first, talking trash to you as you're grounding out. He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "It was fun because I knew you guys were all mad because you couldn't hit me throwing 80."
That's awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was just saying. I wasn't mad about it.
Baseball's the sport where some people can look and go, wait, I can throw 80. It's like, okay, well, there's one guy, but okay. Here's the Giants' potential rotation heading into 2025. Logan Webb's great. Robbie Ray is really good when healthy. No?
Yeah, when healthy.
Yeah.
I hate that when healthy because
I mean, everybody when healthy, but I mean, some of these guys have had more injuries than others. So sometimes I put a when healthy when they're injury prone. That's my nice way of saying they get hurt a lot. Justin Verlander, Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison. Not bad.
It's not a terrible rotation.
No, not bad. The problem, Kip, is the division that they're in. They're the fourth best team in the division for me still. And I don't know if it's close.
That's why I don't understand the signing as much, or why he chose the Giants, I guess. You would think either you're comfortable in Houston, you go for a homecoming in Detroit, or some win now team. So that's why I'm a little confused by San Francisco, I guess. Doesn't mean San Francisco's not going to win. I'm just saying it's just a little confusing.
Yeah, he's got a guaranteed spot there. It's a good pitcher's park. You're pitching for adding on to your legacy. The money was I mean, I don't know what the other offers were, but he might have only gotten 10 from everywhere else. Not that money matters that much to him at this point. But
I was going to say money doesn't matter to him at this point. And a good pitcher's park, are you trying to get another long-term deal? He's already how old?
42.
I just thought
he's trying to rack money.
like
Trying to rack.
I thought he was the best winner or like the best chances to win, rather.
I
Yeah,
get
but
what you're
maybe
saying.
some of those people didn't want him.
True.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And he might get bumped out. Let's say he's on Team X that's ready to make the playoffs, and he's pitching kind of mid for Verlander, but they've already got 3 dudes. He doesn't want to go to a place where, hey, we made the playoffs and now I'm off the roster again.
True. And look, this is a good spot for him because if he does well and the Giants are out of it, which we don't think they're going to be in it, do we? I mean, really? I mean, they're a good team, but they're 4th best in their division.
Mm-hmm.
He can get traded to a contender. He can get traded right back to Houston for 1 year if they're in it. Or he can get traded to the Mets to finish it off. Or he can get traded somewhere else to, let's say Detroit's in it. That'd be a nice story, right? Verlander traded back to Detroit to end his career. I don't know. I think this is one of those. This is one of those moves San Francisco makes. Hopes it's a huge upside, and if it doesn't work out and they're not very good, they can trade him if he's doing all right. And if it's not, they're like, oh, Justin, like much like Randy Johnson did, we'll kind of let you finish it out here and move on.
Also, Justin Verlander's still a draw. Like if you're in San Francisco,
agreed.
you're going, right? If you're like, hey, JV's pitching, this guy's towards the end of his career, and it's like, when's Verlander pitching? Oh, Thursday? Let's go to Thursday's game. Let's watch Verlander. We don't know how many more starts we'll have with him. Right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Him and Scherzer, Kershaw.
Yeah, Scherzer's a free agent. Kershaw's going to be back with the Dodgers.
Yeah, of course.
Scherzer's free agent too. Same thing. There's a problem in baseball with the ledger, with the bill these days. Who's pitching? And those guys weren't the last breed, because there's guys nowadays, but there are less where you look and you're like, oh, I'm excited about that. I mean, we talked about a ton of those teams. Tigers, I can't wait to see Skubal. And then you're like, what else is going on the rest of the week?
But Kip and Kratz, let me ask you this. Don't you think there was a little bit of, you're like, why did he sign in San Francisco? That might have been the best team that was offering him a fair deal that he thought was fair. Like maybe Pittsburgh or Sacramento or someone like that was like, hey, here's 1 year, $15 million. And he's like, they really don't have a chance. At least in San Francisco, I might have a chance, right? Because you just don't know. That's why San Francisco was probably the best team on paper that was giving him the fair deal that he thought, where he had a chance to maybe win.
I think that's probably exactly what happened. You're right. I think that usually comes down to it, where people are like, exactly what I was just saying. Like, why do you choose there? Sometimes your hands are tied. Sometimes you're not all teams are calling in the off season. I think we've all been there before. It's not all the ones you want, and not all the ones that are winning, and you don't always fit the schemes or the rosters for them. So I think that's probably what happened. And listen, I think he's still going to be a good pitcher. I think he's still going to be very useful. With a ceiling of, he can still be a top of rotation. Now, how healthy he is and whether his stuff trails off at the end of the season again like last year, we'll see. But it's still Justin Verlander. It's still a future Hall of Famer that we're talking about with some left in the tank. So I don't really want to count him out too much.
Mm-hmm. All right, FT fam, we put up a poll. If you're watching on YouTube, or even if you're watching on TV, you can pop on and participate in the poll. You get $15 million. You have to take one of those three pitchers this season: Cobb, Verlander, or Charlie Morton.
I voted.
Who are you taking? You voted? I voted too. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to do a little spreading rumors. Also, there's been even a signing since we spoke. Martin Perez is going to AJ's favorite team.
The Cubs.
All right, here we are. We're back. Let's talk about Amed Rosario. We'll save the other one for the TV crowd, but this is just a little baby signing. Rosario to the Nats, $2 million. Kratz, what do you think about the Nats? So they get Lowe, they get Josh Bell. Here's Amed Rosario. Big league player, can fill a number of holes for them. Also can hold down some spots until players come up. I think Brady House at some point will come up for them this year. Maybe play a little third. Obviously, they've got C.J. Abrams at short. Thoughts on what the Nats have been doing? They've been doing baby moves.
Baby moves. I guess they don't feel, like, just let a team tell you where they think they're at. If they're not in on somebody that's going to change this lineup, change this roster, they think they're mid.
Yeah. Good for Amed Rosario. I mean, it's a nice piece, a depth piece. I mean, $2 million is nothing to these teams. I just think that there's, cool. Good for him. He gets to play another year. I mean, he'll get traded again if he's doing well to the Dodgers, like he has like the last 2 years, and go from there.
That's true. Man, I think the Nats
were my pick to like go out and spend a lot of money this offseason.
Yeah, not it.
And they just didn't do it. Like I thought they were going to be the team Boris would go to and say, hey, I can't find Pete Alonso a spot, like he did with a couple of his guys over the years, right? Oh, I can't find this person a spot. Oh, I'll go to Lerner in the Nets.
Starters too, like Flaherty. If you're good with the medicals, maybe even Pavetta. Guys like that. That I'm not even asking for Corbin Burns. Can I get the second tier of starters? Yeah. I think there's something going on there.
Aren't they trying to sell the team?
Yeah, I think there's some carefulness with the books right now, and it does affect the on-field product. That's a real thing. No?
Oh, it does.
Why are you
No,
shaking your head? Yeah.
Because I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. One, they already gave away one of my predictions for later in the show. Two, I feel like this team has the guys, has the youth to be able to push in the direction of getting a number 1 or 2 starter, getting a top of the order bat to add in with Dylan Cruz, James Wood. I think CJ Abrams I know he had some issues at the end of the year, but everybody works through that kind of stuff. On the field, he's able to do a lot of stuff. And I just felt like they were a team that could start to try to compete in this division.
Hey, we're back. FT fam, we got breaking news. We have a signing, and it is to the Chicago White Sox. Our friend Robert Murray from Fansided, who's on this show all the time. The White Sox sign up Martin Perez. He is 33 years old, almost 34, turns 34 in early April, so it'll be his age 34 season, coming off a 26 start year where he had a 4.5 ERA, pitching for the Padres and for the Pirates. Pirates traded him over to the Padres, and he pitched better with the Padres. A 3.5-ish ERA in 52 innings for San Diego down the stretch after kind of a rough start with Pittsburgh. Thoughts? Got to go to you first. Wait, can I actually sell you on this?
Can I talk before you try to sell me on anything? You don't even know what I'm going to say, so you don't need to sell me.
All right, well, whatever direction you go, I'm going the opposite. Go ahead.
What? That's stupid. You're going to just change because you're stupid?
No, I'm not. Go ahead. What do you got?
I actually like this signing. You thought I was going to say I didn't like it. I like Martin Perez. Why? Because I think I caught his debut, so I like Martin Perez. Also, good fella. Really like him. But I think this is a great signing because good fella. See, good fellas matter. But I like this signing for numerous reasons. One, remember that over-under where you're like, oh, I don't think so. Whoop, this just went up, over-under, up, over. Take the over, boys.
For wins?
Yes. Hell yeah.
We haven't done the White Sox.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it. Somebody talked about it.
All right, well.
Anyways, whatever. It was 49.5, and I said take the over. So anyway.
Now it's 50.5.
Oh, it's like 50. It's got to be 55 now after this signing. Yeah, he's going to get 5 wins. But
you didn't catch his debut.
This is also a great move. You know why? Because Chris Getz and that powerful White Sox front office can flip him at the trade deadline.
Boom. They haven't been doing much of that yet.
They haven't got to that point. They haven't gotten to the Pittsburgh point yet.
Right.
Where you sign these guys and then you flip them at the trade deadline.
But you can do that at any point.
Yeah, but you got to get there first.
Why?
Because you got to set the all-time losses record first, and then you get.
Oh, so now they did that. Now
they can go.
Perez. They signed Josh Rojas recently.
Mm-hmm.
They signed Austin Slater.
Mm-hmm.
These are all guys that could perform well on one-year contracts and get flipped.
Yep.
The sock man.
Good for them.
It's kind of their only option right now, isn't it?
Yes.
You're gonna have to do that because nobody's gonna sign there really long term unless you're like drastically overpaid and you're just going somewhere for the money. But otherwise, Sox, all their signings are gonna be those 1-year ones.
Yeah. And by the way, I did not catch his debut. I just want to clear that up before I get destroyed.
But you caught his rookie year?
Yeah, 13. I didn't know he came up in 12. He came up in 13 when I was there. He actually pitched the 1-game playoff we lost instead of Matt Garza. Matt Garza was not happy.
Wow.
Did he break anything?
I don't know about that, but I know he wasn't very happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he didn't feel much better when you lost.
Well, we lost. Yeah, exactly. That didn't help.
Oh, man.
But it's okay. Then Alex Cobb went and shoved against the Indians Guardians, so Kip felt my pain that year.
Yep.
Same year.
Thanks. Yep.
All right, cool. So Martin Perez.
We actually sorry to add, but the same year we were had the same thing going. Actually, I think we had Danny Salazar start that 2013 wild card game when we thought either it was Kluber or someone else. So we had the same situation going on where I think our ace where someone wasn't happy because it didn't line up with them. Because you want to that's the risk because you want to leave that ace for game one if you make it, but you got to make it.
Oh, yeah. You can't live for tomorrow. You got to live
No.
for today in that
Gotta-
scenario.
Look at the 04 Red Sox. They had Derek Lowe thrown on 2 days rest with a 6 ERA that year or something crazy. And he went out and shoved for him.
Yeah, he was nasty.
Got to win today.
That's right. And don't look at the StatCast page for Martin Perez. It doesn't apply to pitchers like him. Or maybe it
Cutter's in.
does.
Cutters in, change up.
Right.
Yep.
But I'm saying, if you look at the StatCast page,
Oh, it's all blue.
this is why the other front offices are going to be like, I see your 3.5 ERA down the stretch with the Padres, but this is all we look at nowadays. Everything's lowest percentile.
But he's a veteran guy. He'll come into the White Sox. He'll help some of these young guys, Cannon and some of the other guys that they have. And,
Yeah.
and be a veteran presence. And again, if he's doing all right, heck, if he's just doing okay, they'll trade him for something.
Because someone will take innings.
Someone will take innings. Some contender down the stretch is going to need innings, and they'll take Martin Perez and be like, oh, we can give up our 22nd prospect
Right.
for Martin Perez. Let's do it.
Good. I'm glad I sold you on that. Woo, that was good. Let's spread rumors.
You're so easily manipulated, AJ.
That's actually a good
jelly
soundbite.
time.
All right, let's spread rumors.
jelly
The
baseball
Pirates
bat.
are looking for outfielders. Randall Grichuk, Alex Verdugo. Those are 2 that have been floated around. In
These are the
rumors
perfect
lately.
Pirate signings.
But these are the signings they do every
That's
year.
what I'm saying. They're the perfect Pirate signings. They sign them and then they trade them.
And also, how does
Except last year they didn't, which was weird. They didn't trade Chapman. They didn't trade Rowdy. They didn't trade Michael A. Taylor.
they weren't as bad yet at the deadline, right? They kind of
Yeah,
fell off
I
after
mean,
that.
They weren't gonna win.
They traded for Brian De La Cruz and IKF, and a lot of
Taylor
people.
Cruz is a free agent.
I know, but you know who? Well, now he's with the Braves.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know who you are. We're like, oh, this actually was decent deadline for the Pirates. I was like, you're crazy. The bar is set so low that you think that was the trade deadline that was going to push them into a wild card spot. Come on. I think we're so complacent and the bar is set so low here that they're going to do a couple moves like this. And you're like, oh, good job. Good job. You've got Paul Skeens for now, what, 5 years to go or 4 years? 5 years to go? They get 6.
5. He's got 5.
5 years to go. Jared Jones, etc. They're going to start getting expensive too. You've got the Brian Reynolds, Key Brian Hayes kind of guys of the world who are not
Keller,
getting
Mitch
younger.
Keller, they signed.
Mitch Keller. And do you add anything from the free agent market
They haven't
of
yet.
significance? No.
They haven't signed any of
Will
these
they-
guys yet. We're just talking about
No.
rumors of signing these guys.
Yeah.
To me, Grichuk,
All right.
Grichuk found a great place in Colorado. Like, they never played him against right-handed pitching. They were just like, stop, you're only facing lefties. And he mashed. I think he had like an 875 OPS plus of 140 in 250 at-bats. We'll see. Every day there's a lefty out there.
Grichuk and Jock, that was a platoon that worked for them.
Yeah.
Huge deal.
Grichuk, good fella.
He is a good fella. I agree.
Good fella.
Kip, Pirates fans, frustration level. I mean, this is fine. We're talking about some nice role players, but I believe the record's still there, and I don't think it's going to get broken this offseason. $17 million is the most they've ever spent on someone in free agency. That was Russell Martin, 2-year contract, $1 billion years ago.
I'd say this is probably the last offseason they will get away with that before they really hear it from their fans. My personal opinion, I think once you get another year, and not that the fans have no right to already be saying it, I think you can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel with Skeens and what's the other hard righty? I'm drawing a blank right now for
Jared
a second.
Jones.
Jared Jones, excuse me. De La Cruz and some other guys are going to start winning games, and I think that's when you're going to have to go all in. Right now, they're kind of holding their bullets, hoping for that run to come. They got a little close first half of the year, and then they fell off again. So I think this will be the last year, I think, because once you get into win now, while those guys, those front of the rotation guys are affordable, you'll be able to get away with it. But once it becomes winning time, when their end of their window's coming up and you need to start winning, you're going to hear it from fans more. I feel like that's the normal order of operations a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, O'Neal Cruz they still have, don't forget. Wherever he's going to play.
Who now
Center field, I guess.
changed position.
I said De La Cruz, O'Neal Cruz, excuse me.
Yeah. What are they going to do? The catcher, what do they do with Henry Davis, right? What's the guy who had Tommy John last year, the catcher? Martinez? What was his name? Gonzalez?
Eddie Rodriguez.
Eddie Rodriguez. I was close. Oh, jeez, I butchered that. Apologies.
It's okay.
I'm thinking of Nick Gonzalez. Didn't he play second base?
Nick Gonzalez is on the Pirates. He's good.
Yeah.
It's just
Four to choose from.
not a good enough team.
But no, I just think this is the Pirates signings. This is what they do. They did this last year, right? Am I wrong, Kratzy? Is this not like just so Pirates like, hey, well, I mean, they didn't trade Chapman. They should have traded Chapman last year. They could have got something for him. You know, they could have traded Rowdy. They could have traded Michael A. Taylor. There's some guys they could have traded.
But they said they bought that. Like they felt like they really bought last year for their standard.
They were still in it. They were still in it at the deadline, weren't they?
Yes.
I mean,
enough. Enough.
Technically, they were still in it. They were close. They had a good run for a little while.
They were in the talking heads. They were the talking heads in it. They were talking like, oh, we got to have something to talk about. I remember talking about it the one day. Like, why are we even talking about teams that are 5 games out right now? Like, don't buy your own fool's gold. Look what the Royals flipped for Aroldis Chapman the year before. The Pirates can't miss on that kind of stuff. They can't miss on, we're close, we're not close. They didn't even know if they were going to let Skeens pitch the rest of the year. How are you going to continue to win? Jared Jones was on the IL, and you're not sure if you're going to throw Paul Skeens for 200 innings if you make the playoffs, but you were buying. You bought one guy who has an extra year on his contract, and you bought another guy who you DFA'd or non-tendered this offseason. I just feel like it's a very Pirate thing to do. You're exactly right, AJ. And it's sad because it's not Ben Cherington's fault. It's not Shelton and his staff's fault. It's not the players' fault. It's all ownership-driven, hamstrung.
Yeah, the job is you're going to get a bottom 5 payroll, and you need to create a championship-level ball club, right? And you can't have every team doing that. The Orioles were given that task. I know they're spending a little more now, but with the previous regime, the Rays are usually given that task. Half the league's given that task. The Cleveland Guardians front office has been better than most. They're given that task every year. Some teams are going to lose out, and the Pirates are one of them right now, where it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't operate as a playoff team with that budget.
Who's worse right now? Pirates, Marlins, A's.
What else?
Marlins.
That's it.
Marlins are the worst.
In terms of what? Just like what their record will be, or as a
just like as a whole. I guess the Marlins would be because they fired everybody and they're basically starting over.
Rockies.
I was going to say the Rockies would be the
Rockies. Rockies they just never go for it. They're just. I feel like they're in a perfect situation. We might have talked about this a long time ago. Like the city fans are going to come regardless when it's sunny out in Denver, and it's just like they're never a need to really go for it.
We talked about it on Monday, didn't we? Did we have this conversation on Monday?
Yeah.
They draw $2.5 to $3 million every year. You know, they have Dinger run around, Triceratops. They hit some homers. They has a couple good players.
Don't say we don't talk about the Rockies, but I'm going.
People are excited to be outside. It's
yeah. A's, Pirates, Marlins, Rockies in terms of like where the organization's at on their competitive landscape when they're
A's is one.
Yeah, I think they have a better shot of a wild card in the American League.
Oh, so you're saying
the way they're
they
building.
have the best shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now and over the next few years, I think both with the core that they have, and then with the Pirates, the core is the pitching.
Does the ball fly in Sacramento?
Yeah.
I mean, I played there 20 plus years ago. I don't know.
I never played there, but I heard some dude in the minor leagues like last year or the year before hit like a ball 510 feet or something. Because it gets so hot. That's when they said it flies. But according to comparing to other PCL parks, now it's just kind of mid. But according
PCL parks are amusement parks.
PCL parks, yeah.
That was the league.
That was a fun league to play in.
Yeah, well, Brent Rooker's going to have a fun year. He's rich, and he's going to hit 40. So anyway, let's get to happier thoughts when we come back. The Twins are getting close to being sold. Big party in Minneapolis soon. Can't make this stuff up. You know, there was another signing in the past 24 hours by the White Sox. Another name that should be familiar.
Oh, Bobby Dahlbeck?
Yeah, Bobby Dahlbeck.
Yeah.
Dobby Ballbeck.
They're getting all the names. All the names. getting another shot.
Yeah. Where's he going to play? Third base, first base? He's not playing first. Andrew Vaughn. Third base, they want Brian Ramos.
If you hit for 3 days in a row on the White Sox this year, they will give you a spot.
Hey, this guy can get hot. He can get hot. He was on that team. He was on that team with Rooker, the Team USA team that I played with, and I'm telling you, he's right up there with Rooker in the sense of like where they were at the same point in their careers in end of 2019. Both really aware of what they need to do. Both have put up some ridiculous numbers in AAA, and you've seen what Rooker's done. So it's one of those things. Hey, everybody gets a chance, just not the same amount of chances. So to me, maybe it's a situation where he gets some ABs and starts hitting some dingers, and you never know what happens.
One or two questions here real quick from the YouTube crowd because we love you. Someone asked, does this mean Scherzer gets around $15 million?
All depends on his health.
Yeah.
But, oh, you mean like when they check the medicals, what they think? Okay. From Ryan.
I mean, your worth is what someone's willing to pay you.
And then I'll
love it
answer
if he
one
would
more.
hold out. I would love if he held out for like 15.1 just to be like, hey, Verlander, check it out. See what I got?
Those two are always competitive. RJM, I'll answer this one quick. Is Flaherty waiting to see if the Dodgers get Roki before he makes his decision on where to go? He's not going back to LA, and also those two don't correlate. Some people that I've seen this question here and there, they're waiting for Roki. No one's waiting for Roki. He doesn't cost anything in baseball terminology.
He costs you a rotation spot, though.
That's it. But
Barely.
I wouldn't worry.
I don't see Flaherty going back there.
No, I don't think Flaherty and Roki are tied in terms of markets. I don't think he's like, I got to see where Roki lands, and then I can jump in there with my 4-year, $80 million ask while Roki gets 8. It's just they're not really relevant. Roki is just a bonus lottery win for a team, and he's going to probably the Dodgers or the Padres. Neither of those teams are in the mix for Flaherty. All right, coming right back. Twins getting sold. Who wants them? In the weeds, we go to our Midwest specialist who is on the scene right now in the Midwest portion of the country, Jason Kipnis. I don't think we've talked about this with you, but you want a frustrated fan base? Sign up the Minnesota Twins, who have received the ultimate tease over the past couple years. They finally built something nice. And then, not finally, they've had other good teams. They had Pierzynski back in the day, and they've had some other good runs. But they finally created a pretty nice roster, made the playoffs a couple years ago, and then the owner punched everyone in the face and said, I'm going to cut payroll significantly. Then it comes out, obviously he's selling the team. Good move by the Polad fam. And there's a robust market for this ball club. They're expected to be sold in full, and it sounds like something could be done before opening day. Twins fans are freaking out. They're all rooting for those billionaire brothers that own the Phoenix Suns because they could treat it more like a toy and give the city what they really deserve when they made them pay for their new ballpark and said they were going to up their payroll, and then they didn't. So it sounds like the team's going to go in the $1.5 to $1.75 billion range. But Kip, things could get very interesting in the Midwest if the Twins actually become a more legit team that doesn't have an owner who plays revenue portfolio bingo.
I think any small market team that kind of gets kicked in the when your team front office or your ownership, doesn't go for it when you have the roster or it's your window. If the flip side of that is to get new ownership a year or two later, ones that are willing to spend, I think that's actually not a bad trade-off. New ownership is a great thing. Why? Because you're going to get someone who's excited about it again. You're going to get fresh blood in there. You're going to get new people, new faces, that you want to win is going to be at the forefront. Technically, people get into it because it's financially, you're going to make money also owning a team anyways. They all do. But I think this is great for Minnesota. They might not see the benefits for a year or two until the deal's done, until they get an off season. So I don't think you're really going to get much it's not going to be done in time if I'm right before this offseason's almost ending here soon. So I think in a year or two, if deal gets done, that's when you'll start to see the benefits from the new ownership. Does that sound right?
Well, it's like the Orioles. Yeah, the Orioles did the same thing, right? The Orioles, Rubenstein bought them. Oh, we're going to see an uptick. They haven't seen an uptick really. I mean, a couple of signings, but nothing like major. And to me, here's the thing. The Pollads have owned this team for a long time. Didn't we have a conversation? Was it us that had a conversation about like the third kid? So you had Carl Pollad, who was the dad, and then you had Jim Pollad, who was the son, and now you have Joe Pollad, right, who's the grandson. And it's the third kid a lot of times in these hierarchies that gets there and they're like, oh, I just got a free franchise. What do I do with it? He's like, he's actually making the smart choice, though. He's selling it because he doesn't want to deal with it. He's like, oh, I get $1.5 billion. Not that the Pollads need it.
Right.
Or $2 billion for this. I don't have to deal with the headache. Sign me up, coach. Like, sign me up.
You get one life. Do you really want to spend your life getting crapped on by everybody in your city and getting your legacy smashed because you're being cheap with the franchise? Or just cash out? Just cash out. That's what they're doing. It's brilliant. Brilliant. Smartest thing that Pollad's ever done.
You're talking to a Chicago Bears fan, so I get that. And there's other the McCaskey family and all that. She's
the McCaskies just said, what did the guy say the other day in his press conference at the end of the year? He said some ludicrous stuff, but I don't know.
That's
We're not
all
allowed
they
to talk
say.
about that.
That's all.
No, what did he say about we beat the Packers? So that's all. What did he do? 5-12.
Yeah, great
beat
win.
The Packers.
You win when you're not supposed to. When the draft is all you have to look forward to, and you win when to drop yourself down a pick. So nice win, buddy.
I'm a Jets fan.
It's a good thing though. It's a good thing when you're not getting the support from the ownership, when you're in your window and you're not having the backup to trade for that guy, to pay this guy, to add and fill in the holes. As a fan, you have every right to be frustrated. That's you're rooting for a team that it's showing you they're never going to really go for it. So I think Minnesota, which is a great place to play, stadium's awesome. I like the stadium. I think it's not necessarily the best hitting one, but I think it's a gorgeous stadium. Weather can suck at times, but that's the AL Central, so I was kind of used to that. But I think you're excited if you're Minnesota Twins fans for here in a couple of years. Why wouldn't you be?
Agreed. As long now you can be excited, but what if the new owner comes in and doesn't want to spend money? You got to make sure that they're going to spend money.
And what's
That's
changed?
why they need
You're absolutely right.
Phoenix guys.
Well,
You got to
you're
root for
absolutely
the
right, but
Phoenix
nothing's
guys.
changed.
Yeah,
The Suns owners.
because let's say a team whoever buys them, I don't know,
It's
Scott
right.
Braun buys them, and Scott's like, I don't want to spend my money. I'm making this much on revenue sharing, and I can make this much by having my payroll at $80 million. And he's like, screw you fans, but I put my money into it to buy this team. I can do whatever I want with the team.
And I'd switch my last name to Nutting, and I'd fit right in.
Well, okay.
That's why I want fans to know, like the fans of like the Mets
Yeah.
and the other ones, the big markets too, that have these billionaire owners that
Dodgers.
go for it, don't know how lucky they really are to have that. Not just because they're in the big market, a big city, and they have these huge rosters, but you have an owner that's unsatisfied with losing and all that. That's a team you want to root for.
Padres are a great example of a small market
Padres,
team
yes,
that's
Padres.
like, I'm going. Even since obviously the passing of
Rangers.
Peter Seidler, they still have a nice payroll.
Rangers.
I
Yeah, I put Rangers in there. Absolutely.
They put money into that team. You know, there's a good point in the chat from Michael Weiss here. Says the Wilfs make the Pollads look so bad. That is true. When you look at the market specifically, the Vikings were
Wolves.
voted the Wilfs.
Yeah. Okay. They said the
What did I say?
Wilkes.
No, Wilf.
Oh yeah.
Ziggy Wilf. He's the
Yeah.
owner of the Vikings. And the Vikings were rated like the number one team by NFL players.
They got that new stadium, which
New
is badass.
stadium. They're just super
Did you see
involved
where
in
they
the
spent
community.
$2 million to send their fans to Detroit, or was the other way?
No,
On
they
Sunday
did
Night
it.
Football.
They
The
did.
Vikings spent $2 million and gave their fans the option. Here's how many ever tickets. We spent $2 million. You guys go. We're playing for the division on Sunday Night Football. And they bought I don't know how many tickets they bought, but they sent them out, said, here, you get them for face value, which is like $200. We spent $2 million on them. Here, go. That's pretty awesome.
That borderline brings me to tears. That's what you should be doing. This is not hard. This is not a hard game. Go ahead, Kratz. I know you want to jump.
No, you said they made the right decision to sell. Yeah, but if you're just looking at it as money, he made the wrong decision. These teams just keep making money. There's no incentive for owners. even the new owners, even if it's the Suns ownership, and I've read about those brothers, like they seem like they'd be a great fit, but there is just a overlying idea that when you put $2 billion into a franchise, well, I got to see some type of return all the time. That's why the Pohlads haven't, or Joe Pohlad or whoever the newest Pohlad is, didn't sell, because he kept making money. You say he's cashing out now. He's cashing out every single year. Maybe he broke even in COVID, but he'll make that on the back end when they're selling the franchise. It is a business run. It's people running it like a business. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in the sense of your team competing year in and year out.
It's a good point. It's not the stock market where you have to report your quarterly profits, besides the Braves, who crush it in that department. They do a great job. But you're right. Now they finally said, you know what? Instead of the yearly payments, we're just going to take the lump sum and get the hell out of here. And good for them. So anyway, let's get to our first guest of the day. Coming up next, Logan O'Hoppe will join the Brady bunch here. The four of us on the screen. We get a $5 with Logan taking center stage. We'll ask him about his offseason. All right, shout out to Orgain. I did it again today. I made my little chocolate shake.
Look like you've done that before, Scott. Definitely done that before.
Really? That's how you're going to start off the shout out to Orgain?
I love Orgain. I had
Made
Orgain after
chocolate
my
shakes?
workout today,
I know.
but I didn't do that.
Organ. He's shaking his organ.
There you go.
Orgain.
I had an Orgain
kids,
after
it's
my
you.
workout today.
Yeah, and how'd it go?
It was
you
great.
It was
It's
nice.
perfect.
Go dig through the garbage and pull
Oh,
it
wait.
out.
Look what I actually brought today before I ate it. Here, show
No
this.
way.
Chocolate chip cookies.
I'm super jelly now. That's got to be
gotta order
delicious.
They're really good. And you know all the allergies I have, and this one actually fits. This is chocolate chip cookie dough. I pop these all the time. I have them in my bag. Go ahead, you can have it. Want
I
to
just wanna
split it?
smell it.
Take it. Rip
I'm
off.
not taking it.
Well, rip off a bite. Rip off a bite.
Oh, gross.
Eating on TV is probably the worst thing you can do.
Yeah,
Probably
I'm
just
eating the rest.
Biting into
For
someone
30%
else's
off
protein
your
bar
order.
might be worse.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Well, you told me so.
no. This is how you do it, the clean way. Hold on.
Rip off a bite.
Just rip
I
off
did,
a
I
bite.
ripped off a bite.
You have to take that
Oh,
one
wait, you're
too.
allergic to me? I got no
No.
foodies.
I don't care. Or game for 30% off
It's
your
good.
order. And if you want stuff to taste good and get your protein boost, it's that simple sometimes. Orgain.com/foul30 and use code foul30. I feel like this is what they're going to use to show the rest of their shows. They're going to be like, well, how should we do our ad? And they're going to be like, just watch this minute of chaos.
I crushed
delicious.
mine.
You did well. Be right back with Logan O'Hoppe. We're going to talk Players Trust Classic with Logan O'Hoppe. Let's say hello first and see how he's doing. Oh, crystal clear picture too.
Wow.
Whatever camera you're using, it's working. What's up?
Good
Logan?
one.
How you
Huntington
doing?
Beach cat?
Lynn, good to see everybody.
Good to see you, dude. How's the off season treating you? Are you in the Northeast right now dealing with the cold?
I am. I'm on Long Island, New York. It's freezing up here, man. I'm ready to get out of here in a couple weeks and try to soak up the last few weeks at home for sure.
There you go.
Are you at mom and dad's house? You still at mom and dad's?
Yeah, I am. I am in the winter, so this may be my last one. But yeah,
Yeah,
Why?
it's time. It's time. Spread those wings, kids. Spread those wings. Spend some of that cash and get
but
your own
parents
place.
love it. Parents love it. They
yeah,
get to hang
maybe
with
last
but
one. I
Big
love
League
it too. I'm
Logan.
not gonna lie.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
likes some home cooked meals. You know, he comes home, mom's got meals cooked for him every night. I get it, but you know, at some point though, big league minimum isn't that minimum anymore. So he can get that place in Newport Coast and spread his wings out there on Newport Coast, and live with trout, hang out with trout out there. I mean, it wouldn't be bad. It's just far from Long Island.
We'll see what the future holds. It is. I always want to come back to Long Island. My people are here, and the food's too good anywhere. So I'm going to keep coming back, but I just don't know if it'll be under this roof. But yeah, I love being here for now.
AJ, you're an impressionable. He's an impressionable person, and you can make a huge impression on him. Why does he need to move out of his parents' house? If his parents want him there, he doesn't have a wifey that's going, I can't live with your parents. Like, this is perfect. You're not just going to flush money down the toilet. You're there for what, 3 months? And as much as you travel, you're going to events, you're making signings, half your friends are getting married. Like, you're barely ever there. It's just like an Airbnb, but with people you love.
It is a good point. It's true. The weddings definitely take up a lot of time. Yeah, Moniac's getting married this weekend, so I'm heading out there. So to your point, I won't be here for a little chunk of time. But yeah, I mean, I love coming back and love spending time with everybody. And this place is obviously pretty special to me, and then a special place in my heart. So I'll keep coming back.
All right, so you said you're going to spring training. When do you go? Do you have a date? For me, it was always I would make sure I was down at spring training right after the Super Bowl. The one year the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, so we got down there the day of the Super Bowl to watch in our apartment in Florida. But do you have a date that you're like, yeah, I want to make it? Because when you were a pup in the minor leagues, I know you used to show up and you were like, I'll catch some bullpens. But now you're a big league. You caught 120 some games in the show. You're like, I'll let someone else catch bullpens. Is there a date that you usually try to get down there or out there?
Yeah, I got down there years before. I got down there about middle of January, so right around, I'd say like a week past this time we're at now. I'm going to get down there February 2nd this year, and the only reason for that is because they're redoing our spring training facility, and I have a pretty good setup here, so I don't want to be in the way of that construction at all. But yeah, I get down there around the middle of January, but this year I'll be there a week early for workouts, so I'm looking forward to it.
Are we still muted? Am I muted? Can you
You're
hear
good.
me?
You're not muted. We can hear you.
Okay, good.
I thought it was
All right,
me
two
for
things.
a second. That worked.
Two things. I'm going to answer Kratz's question. I'm going to answer Kratz's question first. I got there the last second possible for spring training, so you guys are over.
Yeah, I knew that. I
Second
wasn't
of all,
asking.
I mean, I showed up. Like, if it was report day was February 17th, I was showing up the 17th morning if I could. But I'm different than you guys. I wasn't an overachiever. Second of all, I got some family members on Long Island that would love to sell you their houses. So if you need, you could spend some of that big league money. Just let me know. It's a little bit farther east than where you are, but just let me know. I got some family members that are looking to possibly sell their places out in the Hamptons.
No, I'm actually looking right around there, so that may line up. May line up perfectly. I may take you up on that.
Perfect. Then you can go to this place. Do you see my sweatshirt? Do you know what this? Do you play golf?
I do. I mean, I see your sweatshirt. I don't know what the logo means. I don't play as much golf as I should, probably because my dad is pretty good, and I just saved myself from getting chirped at the house. So I'll tap into it eventually, but not yet.
Okay. All right. I wore this just for you, by the way.
Too cold for golf in Long Island.
It is. It's about 25 outside
degrees
right now.
But I wore this because I knew Logan was coming on. Sorry, Kip. And this is National Golf Links, one of the top 5 courses in the world. It's right out there. It's in Southampton, but if Logan doesn't know the logo, he might not be invited out to the Hamptons. I'm gonna have to talk to my people out there.
Now he knows.
Now he knows. That's right.
Now I know. Thank you for preparing me. I
This
think
is
I'm
an
the only
invite,
person
yeah.
from Long Island who hasn't been to Montauk either. So I don't know. I haven't.
Yeah, that's
I
also
really
a no.
don't know touristy things, but I eat the food, and that's all that counts.
Okay.
So AJ, that's an invite, right?
For him. If he wants to go play, I'll get him out there. I'll get him out
I
there.
accept.
Oh, to National? Okay, yeah. Kip, you're in. you're in. But you got to. I tell you what, I'll pay for the round of golf. You pay for the lodging at Sabonic, which is next door.
Something tells me that is not a good deal for me.
I'm right there with you. I don't know how much it would be, but it can't be light.
We'll get it back to baseball for a second, because I know you guys, Angels also signed Travis d'Arnaud this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So if you talk to him, do you know him at all? First question.
I don't know him other than texting back and forth this offseason. He had texted me before it came out publicly that he was coming over, and started a relationship with him right away. I've talked to him more than I thought, to be honest with you. I'm trying not to bug him. I know he's got family and kids in the offseason, but I've talked to Trav a ton, and he's been unbelievable and taught me a lot already, and we haven't even played together in person yet, so I'm excited to get around him and pick his brain, and he's a piece that I'm really excited that we were able to add.
I love that. I love that when you guys can kind of make each other better and work off each other and learn the game from each other. Have the Angels talked to you guys at all about how the playing time would be divided up, or how you see that going, I guess?
No, I haven't talked about it. I'm trying to learn as much from him as I can. He's been doing it longer than I have, obviously. I'm going to try to take advantage of every opportunity I can to learn from him. And like I said before, he's taught me a lot already. And my biggest fear is just not bothering him too much at this point.
Okay. Go, Kratz.
Go ahead, Kip. Sorry.
My last one would be then, not just from learning from him, then what else from this, now that you've gotten at bats under your belt, you have an off season to build off of. What did you learn the most from this last season, and what are you going to take into next season to work on the most?
Yeah, that's a
what's
good
your
one.
biggest adjustment?
After I reflected on this year, I was just telling a couple coaches about this week, actually. When I was younger, up until I got home now, I was trying to do everything, especially at the plate. I was trying to be the guy who could punch something the other way and do damage and get a guy over, whatever way it may be. And I realized how much harder I made my life trying to do all those things. This year, I identified what comes naturally, what I like to do, and maximizing my strengths. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, especially on the offensive side this offseason. And I've really worked on dialing in those strengths and making those strengths even better. So that's the approach. It's a more simple approach, and understanding who I am as a player and what I bring to the table. I know that's something that every young player goes through and figuring out. But after I looked back, man, I couldn't believe how much harder I was making it on myself, trying to do a different thing every at bat. So working on doing the things that come naturally, I would say, is the biggest adjustment and biggest thing I've worked on this winter.
Can you tell us what that is?
I mean, I like to hit doubles and homers, so I want to.
Who does it? Who does it?
Be able to do damage. I want to bring that to a lineup and bring it to the table, and obviously play the game, and whatever the situation dictates, we have to execute that. But simplifying my approach has been a huge adjustment, and one that's really helped.
All right, so you're one of the guys that has kind of stepped to the forefront as a leader, as a catcher. You're young, you're playing every day. How do you talk about improving your team? Because there's still free agents out there. There's still free agents that are available that are better than the current 26 guys that you have. How do you talk about wanting to improve your team when there's guys out there like a Pete Alonso has been rumored to go to Los Angeles? He could go to the Angels and be like a big upgrade over probably your buddy Nolan Shanaway. It's not a knock against him, but how do you approach that kind of thing when you hear rumors like that and then other people talk to you about it? Because Pete Alonso would hit some absolute dingers out there in Anaheim.
Yeah, it's something that's completely out of our control. You have conversations in-house with other guys, of course, I'm sure, as any other team does. But at the end of the day, it's out of our control. That's in people's hands that are above us, and they've done a great job so far for us this winter, and I'm excited to see what they continue to do. And I like the group we have now, man. It's a different feel than it was last year, and I'm looking forward to executing on the things that we have in mind.
All right. Question for you. Patrick Sandoval was your teammate for a few years. Angels don't bring him back. He ends up with the Red Sox. Did you talk to him? And the one part that I think is cool on the personal side is it's a unique situation. By getting non-tendered, he gets more dough. that's not a bad problem. So what did you think of that little switch for him?
Yeah, I'm pumped for Sandy. He got paid. It's no secret, you know. I mean, I'm happy for him. He works really hard. People don't see that side of it internally. I mean, he's there early, and feel like he was always sweating when I showed up to the field, and he really did put the work in. And obviously, the stuff is there as well. I don't know what his opinion would be on the change of scenery, but I'm sure he's excited for it. And we hate to see him go, of course, but on a personal level, I'm happy for him, and excited to see what he'll be able to do. Just hopefully it's not against us.
I'm going back to the golf question because I wanted to ask it when AJ was talking. Is Trout going to let you on his course anytime you want since you're essentially a local guy? I mean, I know it's going to take you a few hours to get there. With traffic, it might take you a day. But when Trout's course is open next year for play, are you going to get on that, John?
That may be the day I start playing golf, to be honest with you. I think that'd be a good time to start. Yeah, I've seen the plans and everything that's come together, so I'm excited to see it really come to life, and yeah, it should be fun getting out there.
Are you going to be member number one? I mean, Trout, and then you. I mean, that's something. That's something you got to go to Mike Trout and say, "Listen, Mike. I mean, we've been teammates now for a couple of years. Like, I'm local. Like, I need to get in there, right?"
I think I went down to his place earlier in the off season, and I think it's close enough where I can just show up and be like, "We're gonna go." So I think that's the
No
point.
membership.
No, I'm just playing.
No
but,
membership.
No minimum.
I'm sure he's
See,
got
the
plenty
guy
of
lives
guys
at home.
lined up.
No minimums. I like it. All right, so Playmakers Classic, Arizona. This is going to be your first one, right? Your first Playmakers Classic. Are you excited for it? We were there last year. It's a really cool event. They do a ton of stuff for charity. It's total access to a lot of huge big league players. They're doing it in Arizona, close to spring training. So, hey, you have to get to spring training early this year because you cannot miss the Playmakers Classic.
No doubt. We report earlier than date. I believe it's the 18th this year, the Classic. But yeah, going to be my first one. Really excited for it. I mean, what the Players Trust can do for us is such a special vehicle that we have to really improve what we want to do off the field. And I'm grateful that we have that team over there to help us do that. Heard a lot of really good things about it. Heard it's not just something you go to and sit around and hang out at. You're active and you're moving and interacting with everybody there. So it's going to be an awesome event and one I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we can bring as many players along with us as we can, and it's going to be awesome.
I looked at the player list. It's loaded. It's really good. I mean, that's the benefit when you have it in a spring training area. I mean, it's been in Vegas in the past. They get a good turnout. This is half the league available, and the guys work in the morning, so no one's playing a game at that time at night. So everyone's available if they're in Arizona. So I mean, half the D-backs are going to be there. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be great. But Logan, appreciate you talking about that, and obviously, what you do with Players Trust and Playmakers Classic, obviously, near and dear to all of us too. And we've seen what they've been able to do community impact wise. We've been to the event last year, so appreciate you talking about it, dude. And also great to see you. Enjoy the rest of the off season and the last few weeks of the cold. All right.
I will. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, great to catch up. Logan O'Hoppe with us from the Angels. Hey, so just going over some other rumors. There's been some reports that the Mets met with Tanner Scott. That makes sense. Everybody's probably interested in him, depending on the price. Yet. You know what? I'm surprised. Not just him. The whole reliever market's been pretty quiet. So Jeff Hoffman, I'm putting in a different category because he wants to start. But Paul Sewald, Tanner Scott, Carlos Estevez, Kirby Yates. I don't know if Kimbrel's still going for it. Kenley. There's a lot of names. David Robertson, I'm sure, is looking for work. I think Leclerc's a free agent. There's a lot of dudes available in the reliever market. But I think the top 4 or 5 Kratz are still available. Am I missing a reliever that's signed for big money so far or no?
No, I mean, not that I remember. I was racking my brain to try to figure out who was still available and who has signed. I don't know of anybody that's signed. Like in
smaller names, Chris Martin. Yeah, we went over some of these mid-level names. Yep. I'm surprised.
I got a question.
We're going to
if
go
we
over
got a
free
break.
agent fits next. Yeah. What do you got?
That's why, because I know we're going to go over the free agents still. From talking with Logan, where I wanted this more for AJ and Erik because of playing during off seasons. When we asked him, what did you learn on? What are you working on from the season prior, or just in general? Because I wrote this down. What'd you work on more? Did you work on improving your weaknesses or honing your strengths? That's just a curious question I had for the two of you.
Probably more.
You just
honing your
AJ's
strength.
face. Just
AJ was just that good.
AJ's Kenny
AJ,
Powers,
yeah.
just born great.
No, I just
Woke up
I'm gonna
great.
let
Do you know what I'm
Kratz in,
asking
and
though? Did you if you worked on, like, let's say you struggled with a certain block on the ball of this or a backside slider
I never
hitting that? Did you work on that, or you're like, hey, I'm good at fastballs, that's why I'm here. Let me make sure I stay good at hitting fastballs.
I wanted to be elite at the one thing that I was good at, and I never practiced catching in the off season. The one thing I could do was hit a fastball, and that's it.
We know.
I've made that very
We know you
clear.
did.
Layup.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I just worked out in the off season, and I would throw, and I never understood guys who were like, I'm gonna change my swing this off season. I don't know.
Not-
I was
change.
different. I was just different though. I was different though. I was.
You have a little Miggy in you where you can do some things naturally, and some guys really have to work for it,
I
or they
guess.
suck.
Yeah.
I just was more about getting my body ready for the year, and then again, I would get my last 7, 8, 9 years, and didn't touch a bat till spring training. So I was. I don't know.
Free agent fits. So our buddy Jim Bowden put out the top 15 free agents remaining and where he thinks they will land. 15 takes too long, so we're going to do 10 right now. Top 10 free agents left on the board, and we will pick a destination for them. Kip, Kratz, and AJ. We're going to go right down the line in terms of the top free agent on the board. So we will start with Roki Sasaki. Where do we think Roki Sasaki is going to end up? You guys have talked about him quite a bit. So AJ, then Kratz, then Kip. Go for it.
I'm going Dodgers. Still going Dodgers. I just think there's something about the Dodgers.
Padres.
Kratz isn't listening. You're up.
I said Padres.
I'll go Padres too.
Any context, or just you guys just say one-word answers on television shows?
Well, I gave my
no,
context.
You did. I'm talking to them.
I'm like, I gave my context.
When I talk this way, it's to you. This way is to them. Yes.
We got 10. We got 10 teams to go through. So AJ took all of our time on explaining it. I don't think the Dodgers have landed this one. I think there's one time in the offseason that they're gonna fail, and it's gonna be awesome to watch him kind of flourish in his own environment, but also still being around Yu Darvish.
Yeah. I think the money and having Darvish there makes sense for San Diego.
Okay. And
not that LA couldn't pay him, but
right. Okay. And Jim Bowden, we can show his board's available anywhere, but he put Roki Sasaki for New York or San Diego. If he was on our show right now, we would all be mad at him and say, Jim, you need to pick one. But he went with Yanks or Padres. But let's go to next player up on his board. He says Bregman to the Red Sox. Kip, what do you think?
To me, yes, it's either Boston. I added a fun one for Bregman. What about like a Detroit? What about like an up and coming team that can kind of pay him? And I think both of those guys are doing well. But if you want me to pick one, I will go Detroit, because I think Boston could trade for like an Arenado or something.
This is my one off the board. Weinke. Bregman's lining up to do a prove it year. And Milwaukee's going to swoop in with a $27 million 1 year deal. They're having an issue. They're trying to figure out their middle infield kind of stuff, and they have Joey Ortiz at third. It's not going to ruin his career if they slide him over. Murph already said maybe we'll look at Joey Ortiz. I know they made a trade with Devin Williams. They got Durbin, or I forget what his name is now, from the Yankees.
Durbin.
But Bregman on a 1-year deal. Milwaukee hasn't made any moves yet. They do it every single year. Bregman, 1-year deal to the Brewers. Lock it.
They did Rhys Hoskins last year. They're not
It's
doing
not happening.
this one.
Bregman's not going there.
Where's he going?
I got Detroit with Kip because I think Arenado is going to end up in Boston because that's where it seems like he wants to go. And I think that the last remaining seat for Bregman is Detroit. He knows Hinch, and Hinch knows him, and he knows what kind of leadership he can bring. And I think that's the reason why the Javi Baez signing won't scare him away from Bregman.
Mm-hmm.
That's because Hinch knows the makeup of Alex Bregman.
And for the Red Sox, it's going to be way cheaper for them to acquire Arenado.
Yes,
it's going to cost way less. What about Anthony Santander? Jim Bowden puts him on the Toronto Blue Jays. What about you?
I got Toronto too.
Yeah.
I think Toronto needs to sign somebody. Santander is a perfect fit. Switch hitter, can play the outfield, brings them offense. I think they have to make a move, and he's the best fit for them right now left on the board.
Mm-hmm.
He actually doesn't fit great, but I do agree that because Toronto wants to run the bases, they want to play defense, but what it adds is something that they don't really have outside of Vladdy. Somebody's proven that they can bang the ball. So to me, Santander to the Blue Jays.
I like Toronto as well. I'd kind of Angels written down behind it, but I like Toronto. I think they got to make a move.
All right, next one, Pete Alonso. Just raise your hand if you don't have Pete going back to the Mets, and you can be the one to explain why. Raise your hand. Nobody? We're all going Mets? Great. Let's move on.
He's going to go back. I think he's going to go back on a short-term deal, prove it contract with an opt-out, something like that, and they're going to resign.
Really?
That's fine.
Longer term. That's what I don't think he's going to go back for long-term. I think it's going to have to be he's going to go to them and say, listen, I need a short-term. Give me a short-term deal, the best you can do. I love New York. New York loves me. I think I could help us get the next step. And boom, and I'd take an opt-out or 1-year deal and go. I don't see where else he can go.
I think
Short
he'll
term,
get at least
short term with nothing. Short term with nothing, like a 1-year deal
with an opt-out after one.
Okay.
That's what I think. Look at Bellinger's deal. That could be the way they craft it. And Bellinger's been opting in. Flaherty, this one's all over the place. Bowden has him going to the Braves. Kratz, you can start with this one. Where does Jack Flaherty sign?
Same division. I got him going to the Nats. That's my jumping off point. Was he the best available at the beginning of the offseason? No. But I feel like they need to make a move like this. I think right now where it's at, they might get him a little bit cheaper than they may have previously thought. 4 years, 75, 4 years, somewhere in there. Great first signing for the Nats, and then they can still make another move.
I put the Angels again, for him. I think that's coming off a ring. I think he could probably get the most money from them. They still need pitching. Everybody needs pitching, but
I'm going Atlanta just because I think Flaherty. Atlanta's waiting for the price to drop a little bit. They'll swoop in, and I think they'll do a short-term deal, kind of like Alonso. It sucks for Jack Flaherty, but with his medical issues, I think he's going to get a short-term deal. And 2 years ago, he wasn't very good. Last year was great. Some team, and I think it's going to be Atlanta's going to swoop in. And
you got Atlanta.
Yeah, I got Atlanta, much like Jim Bowden.
Okay. Do you agree with Bowden on the next one, Tanner Scott to the Red Sox?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Where's he going?
I got Tanner Scott going to the Mets.
I like that.
I just think the Mets make sense. They need a proven lefty down there.
Mm-hmm.
And Stevie Cohen has shown no inkling to stop spending, so why not?
I was debating between the Mets and the Phillies. I don't know if they're going to fight it out or not, but they're going to fight it out throughout the whole year. Those three with the Braves added in there. To me, I think Tanner Scott, it's a need that the Phillies still have. They need a closer, and he's the best non-tradable or non-trade closer. He's the best free agent closer that's out there. And I think he knows the division. He's going to do well there.
So you went Phillies, right?
I did.
Yeah, we were on the same page. Same exact reasoning. I went Phillies as well.
Okay. I'm going to do another one of these because we have 4 more to go. Raise your hand if you don't have Profar going to the Padres. All right, moving on. Ha-Seong Kim. And Bowden has Profar and Kim going to the Padres. My money is on at least one of those guys signing elsewhere. You think Kim
I got Kim
somewhere
not
else?
going to the Padres.
Okay, where?
I got Kim going to the New York Yankees.
Ooh.
They need a second baseman. He's left. He's not left-handed. Sorry, but he's a right-handed bat. They can throw in there. He does some things. He can run. He can steal some bases. He plays good defense. He's the perfect fit for them at second base.
That's not bad. That's a defensive upgrade.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Kratz, do you like
Guess
that?
who else? Guess who else has defensive issues? The Red Sox. The Red Sox need defense. Is there an absolute fit? Do they have to move other guys around? Absolutely. I see him signing with the Red Sox. Kind of as let's see how Trevor Story plays for an entire season too. Kind of that backup plan for him. Boston.
I had him as like an insurance policy more for like a Seattle or Atlanta, but I kind of like AJ's answer, so I might change mine to the Yankees. I like that fit.
I like Atlanta by
Good
you,
job,
Kip.
AJ.
I like the Atlanta.
Yeah.
Jeff Hoffman, 2 more to go.
Nats. I got Nats. Nats got to sign somebody.
That's
I got
what
Nats. I like
Bowden said.
Jim's. Because he can go there with no pressure. He can start, and then if it goes well, like I see him signing another. He's a guy that's going to sign a shorter term deal because if he wants to start, it's probably going to be a shorter term for less pressure on the team.
He wants the Clay Holmes seal. I don't think anyone's given it to him yet, but that's what he wants. Because Holmes is doing the same thing. Kratz, where's he going?
And where's Holmes? And where's Holmes doing that?
Mets.
Thank you. Because they're going to miss out on Tanner Scott, the Mets are going after Jeff Hoffman. They've seen it. How many times do guys go? How many times do they go in a division? Mets love the we're going to build this guy into a starter, but what's the worst case scenario? He slides back into the 8th inning role behind Edwin Diaz.
They can't do that with Holmes and Hoffman, though. I mean, how many starters the Mets going to have?
12.
How many of them are going to throw 30 starts? That's the perfect way you do it. You get 6 guys who, Manaya's going to be your lockdown everyday guy. Senga's coming off 2 years in a row of not pitching. You accumulate a bunch of guys who you can end up putting in the bullpen eventually. Hopefully you don't have to put them all in the bullpen.
Quick clarification. 1 year of not pitching, really. He pitched 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago he pitched all the time.
Yeah. 2 seasons ago he pitched.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. He
You're
just
good.
missed
Kip.
last year.
Yes, Kip for Hoffman, and then we'll do one more, and then we'll.
I got the Cubs for Hoffman.
Okay.
I think they need to sign someone. Yeah.
Okay. Cubs
I
added
think
Boyd.
they've been kind of but I think they've been relatively quiet. They still need another one.
Okay. Lastly, Nick Pivetta. Then Kip, where do you have Pivetta going?
I put Toronto, but I'm going to defer more because I still think Toronto needs to make more moves and do something. But I'm going to leave this one more to AJ and Kratz. I think they might know more than I do on this.
I feel like Atlanta. I don't feel like they're going to get Flaherty. I feel like Atlanta is a place where he can go in and they don't need to expect too much of him. But I think people are going to be surprised at what he gets in free agency here because a lot, including myself, was surprised that he got a qualifying offer. And now when he goes to Atlanta, I forget where their picks are right now, but it's not going to hurt them as much. I think it's going to be a prime spot for him.
Ready for this one?
Yes.
You guys know where Nick Pavetta's from?
Canada.
Where in Canada?
Toronto?
Victoria. You know where Victoria's by?
Seattle.
Ooh, you know when they're going to sign him?
When
After
they trade
Castillo.
Oh, that's good.
So he's going to be the replacement. They're going to get a local guy from Canada, right about a couple hours north of there in Victoria, BC. And he's going to come and be in their rotation and learn from Gilbert and Kirby and all the rest of those guys over there.
Only problem with that, they don't have money to spend.
They're going to trade Castillo for $25 million.
For offense.
They're going to get their offense in the trade, and then they're going to sign Pivetta.
I like the theory.
For a shorter term contract.
Their ownership is so broke right now. They owe, I don't know what the problem is, but they owe a lot of people a lot of money, I guess. That's debt for you, folks. All right. There was your free agent fits. If you're watching this after the fact on a social media platform or YouTube or whatever, comment what you like, what you didn't like, offer some thoughts. Be right back with Brian Abraham, who's the Senior Director of Player Development for the Boston Red Sox.
BetMGM Casino has the most exciting live dealer tables. So when you want the magic of Vegas, you get the magic of Vegas. All the excitement of a player's paradise with live dealer blackjack, roulette, craps, baccarat, and more. Anytime, anywhere.
I never split nines.
Download and get 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 on the house. Only from the casino born in Vegas.
What's up? We're back. Let's do a couple fan questions. Craig said, do you see Stroman starting the year with the Yankees? There's been rumors all offseason, but heating up even more that they're really shopping him hard. They're going to have to eat some money. He's due $18.5 million this year. He also has a player option for 2026 for $18 million. It's not a bad pitcher. He's kind of league average-ish. Sometimes he gets hot for a little bit of time. This year, he actually proved that he could stay on the field. He had 29 starts, 95 ERA plus, just a little below average. It was a 4.31 ERA. Didn't pitch at all in the playoffs, just they didn't use him. So do we think he gets traded, guys?
If he's only getting paid $18 million a year and Verlander's getting 15, I think there's a lot of it's gonna be a high ask. I know it's 2 years.
It's a 2-year, $36.5 million commitment technically. That's how you have to look at it.
18 a year for 2 years. He's better than Frankie Montas. He's better than those three guys we had talked about. He's stayed healthy. To me, I thought there was like a San Francisco Giants type of thing coming with him. Traded it out there because you think about KC. You just think about the bigger parks that are conducive for that sinker to put some balls on the ground. Teams that are defensive oriented, that's where I feel like. But I feel like the ask should be high because of what pitchers are getting right now in the free agent market.
Okay. I could see him getting dealt. I think the Yankees will have to eat a little bit of money, but that's fine. I mean, the Yankees are in a position to do that. It helps them get a prospect. They will. Teams, when the Yankees call, they want to trade a guy. Teams are going to want the Yanks to eat a little bit of money. The Yanks have actually done that on the opposite end quite a bit. Remember, they've made teams eat money on certain trades. So anyway, I don't think he's getting traded straight up for that cash. I mean, they did that with the Cubs just now too, right? Didn't the Cubs eat a little bit of money or no?
Yeah, $5 million, I think.
Yeah, so they'll be just a little chunk. It makes owners feel good, I'm telling you. They just feel like they got a bargain when you can do that. You know, you can use coupons at the grocery store. Some of them do. All right, here we go. Brian Abraham's the Senior Director of Player Development for the Boston Red Sox, joining us right now on FT. Brian, appreciate the time, man. And we love having people like you on the show. So thanks for taking the time. And just first off, can you explain what you do? And then we give everyone context on what we're going to ask you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Good to see everyone. Farm director, oversee all of our minor league development, player development, coaches, players, making sure that the players we acquire, whether through international signings, the draft, free agency on the minor league side, have goals and a plan to ultimately reach the big leagues and can impact our major league roster. So about player development, staff development, and basically providing that pipeline for our big league team to have success year in and year out.
And have you been able to fill my role since I left? For our FD fans, I was probably one of the most pivotal Red Sox employees of all time. That I know it's been tough. I know it's been tough for you to fill my role, but have you been able to since I departed at the end of 21?
We have not. I think it was one of my first hires when I became farm director. So, once you left and joined the media biz, it's been big shoes to fill. So we're still looking. Hopefully we can find someone, but you left a mark, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's because
Hold
you guys, the Red Sox made the playoffs that year. I'm just saying, the Red Sox made the playoffs that year when I was in the org getting stuff done. Just saying, AJ. Just saying.
I'm just going to say this. I'm gonna be 100% transparent. I had no idea who the hell we were interviewing right now, and then his face popped on the screen, and I'm like, "It was our bullpen catcher," and now he's the director. I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's Abe's." I'm like, "No way!" I had no idea. I swear to God, I had no idea. No idea. I didn't look it up.
Bad teammate.
No idea. I'm like,
bad teammate.
I'm not bad teammate.
That's all right.
Not bad
teammate.
I didn't.
You're big
listen,
time now,
you wanna
AJ.
be
Even
a
more
big
big time than when you were a player. So I get it.
Apparently, you moved
Bad
way up the
teammate.
list. Right? Listen, if you want to be a big league something, you be my bullpen catcher. Rick Eckstein, hitting coach extraordinaire, Team USA coach. Abe's, look at him go. I mean, there's a whole long list of my bullpen catchers that have moved up. Now, when I saw your face, I literally was like, is that the same person? No way. So congratulations to you. I'm going to let you and Kratz have your love fest now, and I'm going to step aside.
Thank you.
AJ needs to have some questions here because he called you his bullpen catcher. Like the team assigned. Did you feel like you were one of his underlings when he was on the team? Did you feel like you had to go and get him water? Hey, finish my bullpen. Hey,
No.
It's February 3rd.
No.
I'm not showing up. It's okay. This is a safe space, BA.
No, AJ was great. I do think the
Liar.
bullpen catcher job, it's a bit of a grind. You do have to provide water and towels and play catch. I think there are a few times I protected his son from balls. I protected his son.
You know why that's bull?
from the field.
Now that's probably true. Abe, you probably did that, but I will say this, and I know Kratz didn't do this. Yeah, Scott just got me some water. Thanks, Scott. But I will say this, Kratz, and I know Kip didn't have to do this. I always tip my bullpen catchers at the end of the year too for catching the bullpens. And when I got released from Boston, I made sure I gave Mani and Abe's a check. So Kratz, beat it.
I was the bullpen catcher, kid. Don't worry about it. BA, actually, you didn't get him his job, okay? BA actually threw his first ever BP session to me in Toronto as just an absolute just green behind the ears. Yes?
True. Bradenton, Florida, 2007, long time ago. But you were the first. I remember it like it was yesterday. I think I survived. I made it through, and the rest is history, I guess.
It is. And let's start talking about the history. Let's start talking about the fact that we know the big league team, there's a lot of things going around with the big league team. In the minor leagues, what you and your staff have developed is top of the mark in baseball right now. Do you feel like it is something that you perceived or you saw this coming, that, hey, when we do these things, when we put these people in positions to impact these players, did you feel like it was going to take Boston to the number 1 or number 2 slot, whichever writer is writing about it in minor league baseball?
I think that's the hope. I think you try to hire really good people, innovative people that are willing to challenge themselves and what they know about the game and what they've been taught. And then obviously it's a collaborative effort with all of our scouts, all of our analysts, and bringing in the right players, and then putting a plan in place for each individual player to provide them an opportunity to get better. But I think the biggest thing is just our group challenging the norms, challenging maybe what we thought has been done and has been done for years, and maybe doing things a little bit differently, understanding what we value and what drives success at the major league level, and then training our players to improve in those areas. So definitely a group effort. A lot of, obviously all the credit goes to the players. We have a ton of good players, good people, guys that are willing to challenge themselves, work hard and push each other. But that comes with culture that comes from the top, the organization, with resources and support from leadership. And we're really lucky to have a really good group these days, and one that pushes each other. And I think always trying to get better on a daily basis.
Now, one thing I'm seeing here that I like that I'm reading is that you meet with all your prospects twice a year, which is nice because from my memory, it's normally like, hey, it might be in passing, like, how are things going, Kip? Or like, everything good? And like that. you sit down with each prospect twice a year. Whose idea was that, and what time during the year do you do it? Do you do it middle of the season, end of year?
Yeah, good question. I actually we do it more than that. We do in spring training. We meet with every player in spring training, talk to them about their off season, their goals moving forward, how they view themselves, and then we talk about our plan for them and what we feel like can get them better. And it's not just us telling them what to do. It's them buying in. It's them understanding what they want to do, how they want to improve. Because at the end of the day, it's really ownership of the player. It's their career. If they're not going to buy in, if they don't believe in what they're training to do, if they don't believe in our programming, then it's hard to get better. So spring training and then multiple times per year, we try to meet with every player once a month. Our affiliate staff, along with leadership, via the way things are now, we can do it via Zoom, via Teams. And then toward the end of the year as well, talking about off-season goals. So we're really transparent with information, really transparent with goals, are very honest with our players about where they are. And, I think in today's game, we track a lot of information. We use a lot of objective information to show where guys are, where they're progressing, and potentially where they're regressing as well, and what they need to improve upon. So I think it's all about honesty. I think you guys, Jason, Erik, and AJ, like you guys are all players. I think honesty to me is so valuable in today's game, being very transparent with the player, where they stand, where they see them, what they ultimately need to do to make that next step in their career. And I think when you do that, you get a lot of buy-in.
I love it. I think you'll get way more out of an honest meeting than that kind of just run-of-your-mill generic conversation with a player development guy. Now, you hinted on the constructive criticism side of the honesty. When you say you get specific, are you saying, hey, you're striking out too much, we want to see you cut down on this as a hitter, or you're walking too many guys as a pitcher? Are you getting into the nitty-gritty of it, of stats maybe, or specific stuff on the field that you want to see improvement of?
Yeah, we have certain, performance indicators that we value and that we educate our players about. So they're very well aware of how they're being evaluated. And then, there are sub indicators that I think track how those larger areas will improve. And we let our players know where they are relative to each other, relative to the rest of the league, and where they need to improve upon. So, it does sometimes get as detailed as K rate, as strikeout rate. Also, we have some larger valuations such as, bat speed, bat to ball, swing decisions as well, which are incredibly important. So, and the same with on the pitching side too, be able to throw strikes, fastball velo, stuff, all those things. We have different areas to evaluate on. And I think a big thing is just education for our players, letting players know what we as an organization value and what they're being evaluated on, so they know what they need to improve upon on a daily basis. And then again, just tracking them, giving them information on a daily basis, and then over a season, over multiple seasons, and seeing how they can progress. And it allows us to make adjustments too. So it's great to give players a plan, but if they don't see progress, or they don't see improvements, it's really hard for them to buy in. So with the information, with the transparency, it allows us to give those plans and give our programming with feedback, and allows, again, that buy-in, that trust, that understanding of why we're asking them to do particular things.
Abes, do you do this with every player? Because I know times have changed, but I remember in the minor leagues, the GM would come in, the field coordinator would come in, and you could always definitely tell who was the prospects, right? Like you knew. You were like, they wouldn't spend as much time with the 28-year-old first baseman that was an A-ball as they would with Torrey Hunter, right? So do you do this for every player in your organization? And do you personalize it for every player and say, okay, you're this guy, we need you to be this. This is how you're going to get to the major leagues? Or is it just, I know you do it for every player, but how personalized do you get? Because let's be honest, there's just some guys that aren't going to make it, and that it's just the way it happens.
Yeah, I think we try to be very individualized. And, for me personally, in my role, I try to be as personable as I can and try to get to know every player individually. We have, including the Dominican, 240 plus players. So it's certainly difficult to have those individual conversations with everyone. But I think that's one of the best things about our organization, about our staff. We have a system in place where our coaches in the field level, our coordinators get to know our players probably a little bit more than myself. But then, again, I think the meetings are very individualized. We really try to get down and dirty with what these players need to do to get better. And sometimes the conversations with some of maybe the players that need to improve upon more are a little bit more honest and a little bit more real, saying, hey, if you want to be a big leaguer, you really need to make a dramatic change. If you want to be a big leaguer, you really need to throw harder. You really need to swing the bat faster. Those are certainly some conversations that we have. And the reality is there are prospects and there are some players that probably aren't going to make the impact of the big leagues. But I would say, like probably any farm director would say, having a high floor and having players that are working hard consistently, even that aren't the top prospects, create a environment and a system that allows players to compete day in and day out, push each other, and create a culture where everyone's trying to get better. And at the end of the day, if you have everyone trying to get better, the guys at the bottom could potentially create value for you in a trade or maybe just minor league depth, and then the players at the top can continue to provide depth for you at the big leagues and impact maybe in a trade as well as we've seen. So I think we try to be as individualized as possible. There is a time piece to this. It certainly is hard, but I think we do the best we can to make sure we're as personal as we can with each player.
What if they don't agree with you? I think you guys just got a prospect that was a switch hitter, and I think you guys said he's not a switch hitter. How do you handle that type of situation? Maybe not that specific because it's a personal thing for him. But
sorry,
oh, they traded him.
Trade him.
Oh, that's right.
He wants to be
Thanks for burying the lead.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Oops.
Thanks for burying the lead, Scott.
I mean, it happens. It happens. Again, I think, the honesty, the transparency, providing information to show these players why we believe in something. And at the end of the day, like I said, the player needs to believe in what they're doing. And sometimes it might be a player disagreeing and saying, I want to do it this way. At the end of the day, the player needs to buy into whatever work they're working toward, whatever goals they're working toward. And if they do, they're with our coaching staff, with the training that we have, they're going to get better. So maybe it might not be the primary goal that we might have for them, but if they're trying to get better at something, that's a real positive. And at the end of the day, I think that's ultimately what we're trying to get out of every player. The hope is we can provide enough information, enough education that players are going to understand why we want them to work on particular goals. But, at different points in different players' careers, there are different things that they need to work on. It's not always a physical piece in the batting cage or the mound. It could be in the weight room. It could be on the mental side. It could be a role at the upper levels, a player maybe who's playing every day who might be utilizing a utility role in the big league. So I think it's just listening to the player, being honest with the player, and just understanding that, again, it's their career. We are there to support them. And at the end of the day, we want to do everything we can to allow them to get better. And we're on their side. I think that's really, really important. We want them to be really good big leaguers. We want them to have a ton of success. We want them to make a lot of money and win a lot of World Series in Boston. So whatever that takes, we're here to support them.
Can you talk about some of the guys that got traded, some of the guys that got traded in the most recent Crochet trade, but also add in your feeling about it? Because, yes, I know you want the Boston Red Sox to ultimately be the best team, but when you have guys that are come up through your organization, drafted by you, you see you and hear about them when they're drafted, and then they ultimately get traded away. What's your feeling on that? I won't tell you your feeling. What is your feeling on that? But first, talk about the dudes that you lost.
Yeah, I mean, obviously really good players and certainly going to miss them, but that's obviously the reason why we were able to get a high-end pitcher that's going to impact our rotation in the future, this year and in the future. So, Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, Wilkman Gonzalez, and Chase Mydroth, all unique in their own ways. I think all different players, but I would just say player development, what I love about player development is it is one of the few places in this game where the personal relationships and getting to know people and understanding people and who they are and what drives them is incredibly valuable and still means a lot because as we all know, there is a physical piece to this, but there's so much more to having success in the major leagues than just physical tools. And there's been plenty of first rounders who don't have success. And there's been plenty of players that get drafted late in the draft that have a ton of success because maybe they didn't have the best physical tools, but they're able to handle adversity or they were able to make adjustments or they got stronger and got faster. So I think getting to know those guys on a personal level Again, our amateur side, the international side, has done such an amazing job of getting really good, talented players, but really good people that want to work hard, that are willing to challenge themselves and make adjustments. So to lose, players like Kyle and Chase, who I've gotten to know really well, and then Wilkeman, who's been with us since a young international free agent signing, and then Braden, who had only been with us for a short time, but was really exciting to see. It's tough. It certainly is. But I think when you make those deals, you make those trades, and certainly I'm, not the boss here, but I think Breza said you have to get uncomfortable. And those types of deals are uncomfortable, but hopefully at the end of the day, our job is to make the major league team in Boston Red Sox a World Series contender, and that's the goal. So I think the White Sox got four really good players, four players that are going to impact their organization in a bunch of different ways on and off the field. And certainly tough to see those guys go. But that's a part of this game. And I know we'll continue to do our best to fill in their spots here with the Red Sox and provide more opportunities for the players that we currently have.
Well, you missed the first earlier part of our show where natural tools is all you need to be in the big leagues. AJ could show up the day before spring training and just stay in. That's all he needed to do to last in the big leagues. So I know it hurts to let some of those guys go, especially when you watch them develop. Then, so let's flip it and get a little bit more positive here. Who are you excited about the most that's coming up? What are some names that we need to be on the lookout who are knocking on the door that we're going to be seeing in Boston here soon?
Yeah, it's hard to not talk about Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Marcelo Meyer right off the top. Three position players that have worked their way up through our organization, that are really good kids, really hard workers, leaders in this organization. I think, again, I was telling someone yesterday down at Red Sox Fantasy Camp, as a farm director, everything that you could dream of for someone to represent the Boston Red Sox, those three. Boston is a city that thrives on winning championships. They thrive on hard work and dedication and commitment to the team, the city, and I think those three really represent that. So to see them progress, see them develop in the minor leagues has been great to see. And I think too, like they all know, there's still ways to go for them to be impact major leaguers. They've done a great job so far, but again, there's still ways to go. They still have different areas and goals that they need to improve upon. But we're really excited about their progress. And again, it's not the only thing, but the fact that they're good kids and want to get better and are really good teammates, I think does a lot for the players around them, the teammates around them, because a World Series isn't one, an organization isn't built on just one or two players. It's built on a group of players that are able to sustain success over multiple years. And I think when you have your best players competing, when you have your best players, maybe struggling at times and wanting to get better and finding ways to improve, that sets the tone for the rest of the group. So I think really excited about those three. Luis Perales is a pitcher that we have that had Tommy John last year, but is one of our top end arms, electric stuff. Couple guys that are coming to our rookie program this weekend in Boston. Hunter Dobbins, who just got added to the 40-man, a young starting pitcher. David Sandlin, who we got in a trade from Kansas City last year, a starting pitcher in Double-A. Justin Garcia, an outfielder plus defender, really impacts the baseball. So, those guys are kind of towards the top of the organization. We have a really young, exciting group of players in the lower levels as well. Franklin Arias, Yoenis Cespedes, Giovanni Monegro. I think the list goes on. We're really excited about the group of players we have, and again, that's why player development is so exciting. There's a plethora of players that we can get to improve and hopefully make an impact in Boston in the near future.
All right, Dave, before I let you go, I just got to say this. Breslow was on the same team I was, and last time I saw him was in Yankee Stadium last year. He said he would come on the show. So when you see him, tell him to respond to Kratz's text and come on the show. Okay, that's it. I mean, I went out of my way to go to Breslow's charity event, okay? And I got a great shirt out of it. So it was very nice of you.
Kratz has been texting me nonstop to come on the show, so I'm happy I was able to make it because I think he was going to continue to harass me, but it's
he will.
Yeah, I'm sure he still will, but it's okay. I like Erik. He's a good one.
Unless the Red Sox organization or farm system goes in the pot, we're not inviting any player development dude that's like 25th in baseball, nothing like that. Like, we're not inviting you. But my last question is about your clothes. How many quarter zips, now that you're in this job, this is your 5th year, how many quarter zips you got now?
I try to mix it up. I consider myself a young 40. I got an 11-year-old son. I try to stay hip and cool. So I'm not always a quarter zip guy. I might do, button down untucked Jordans. I'm a jeans guy. So I try to stay somewhat casual in the front office setting, but I do have more quarter zips than I had as a bullpen catcher. I'm a hoodie guy too. Can't go wrong with a hood. But I try to mix it up for sure. I try to stay cool. I see some of our guys now. I feel old seeing some of our guys dress these days. I don't understand style, but I try to be a cool 40.
Well, thanks for coming on AJ's show. Since you were his bullpen catcher, so he wouldn't have to do everything. Thanks for coming on his show. Scott is now his water boy, so don't feel like you're not taken care of anymore.
I just want to be a future farm director.
Just get Brez on, okay? Just tell Brez that now I'm gonna start going Kratz on him. I'm gonna go Kratz on him. And just text him every day until he comes on.
Yep.
Please don't do that.
Done.
Please don't do that.
I'll say it's from BA.
Thanks for having me,
I'll
guys.
say it's from BA.
Thanks, Brian. This was great, though. Super informative. We love doing this stuff.
Thanks, Abe.
So, in all seriousness,
good seeing you again, too, by the way.
Appreciate you, man.
Good seeing you again.
Ooh, BetMGM futures. We picked Philly today for Kratz. 91.5 wins.
That's about right. I'd say they're going to be about 93, so I'll go over.
Over?
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's a good division. I'll go over.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under at 90 as a wild card team.
Homer.
That's a lot. That's the opposite of a homer.
I know.
I just feel like 90.
No. You know what he's doing,
that.
Kip? He's like, I'm going to undervalue them so that they do better. And if I win my bet, I'm happy. But if they go over, I'll be really happy.
That's called hedging.
He's
your
hedging. He's
happiness.
hedging. Yeah, he's
betting
hedging.
with his head, betting with his heart, not with his head.
Hedging your happiness.
That is not
a real thing.
That is not it. That's not it. That's not it at all. I just think it's a tough division.
We got him. We got him. Much like I was speechless when I just saw Brian Abraham, you are in the same boat right now.
Let's go. We got him.
You could probably ask me tomorrow, and I might change my tone. I might say 92. You're saying over. I just feel like if you think the Mets are going to be better, I feel like the Braves are going to be better. Just based on how good the team is, like it's going to be tough for two teams to win over 92 games in one division. I'm not saying it's not going to happen.
What about the Mets? I mean, the Mets are going to win.
Well, I don't think they're going to win 92, but I just feel like if you think the Braves and the Phillies are going to win over 91, I have to choose one that's not going to.
Phillies are going to win the division again. They're a regular season team.
Whammo!
They are. That's a really good regular season team. It is. Starters give you innings. You face bad pitching during the year and don't get overexposed in certain ways. Man, I don't know why that lineup gets carved up in the playoffs. It does.
I'll tell you why.
Okay, but not every pitcher in the bigs can execute that game plan, and they are executing that game plan.
Just paying attention closer.
We don't have enough time for this. But BetMGM Poker is going to be happening in Atlantic City tomorrow. AJ
I'm so excited.
Fly out. Ooh, I like that graphic, though. So we will be there. You can participate during the day. We'll have our show. Then we're going to all play against the people. And then we're going to play amongst ourselves in the live stream big league poker game that we've got going on at 7 o'clock Eastern time. You can actually watch that live stream on our channel. Dylan Betances, Joe Blanton, Kevin Frandon, Brett Myers. Your boy Doug Minkiewicz is coming too. To each other?
Oh. Well, when we need a drink.
Oh.
Yeah,
Hot corner time. All right. Well,
drink.
this is a TV crowd, so they don't know what we were talking about. But what's up, everyone? You know what? I'm going to actually just answer some questions from YouTube and social media today. And there were many questions after yesterday's show about the drama that's going on with the Padres and their family. I actually read a lot more about this last night. There's a bunch of articles about it and the family strife that's going on right now over control of the Padres. And if you believe the story that's out there from the late Peter Seidler's wife, his widow, Sheil, it's actually pretty sad. Like, if what she's saying is true, right? And I don't know the storylines, they're kind of kicking her out, and even though she's got majority control of the team. So that's what I read. But anyway, people were asking a number of questions, including, will this hurt chances of Roki Sasaki? And you might be like, no, why would he care? But in Japanese culture, scandal is shameful, and I think a bigger deal. I was just there, and I was weighing this, and I'm like, I see that, and I think other teams could use this as fodder to try and steer him their direction. But I also think because Darvish is there, he can call and be like, yo, this is not affecting your life at all. This is, in American culture, lawsuits are called Tuesdays, so don't worry about it. What does everyone else think?
I hope it doesn't.
I don't think it's a problem.
Decision.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
Yep, I agree. And then some fans were
I don't think it
commenting-
will. I don't think it will because it shouldn't.
Yep. It's not going to affect the on-field product. So, but anyway, there's a lawsuit going on there. A lot of fans were commenting saying they're rooting for Sheil, who's the widow in this situation. So I read a lot. I feel well informed on the topic. Another day. We'll see as the lawsuit turns. We'll be right back, FT fam. We're going to slap hands and make sure we have a few minutes to answer some questions on the back end and also honor just a terrible loss in our sport. We'll tell you about it in a sec. By the way, I just wanted to fill you guys in on more here, what I read about. So Peter Seidler passed away. Obviously, you have to button everything up beforehand, including to the league of who's taking over everything. And included in what I read in the article, they said, he left the trust to his brothers, and the brothers are basically screwing over the family, which is the widow and his kids. And they're switching things around, and they weren't even letting them in the owner's suite. That's pretty rough. That part bothered me. I'm like, if that's true, and it's hard to put that out there if it's not true, right? That can be proven even by cameras to be like, no, they're here. They're in the suite. So that one hurts if that's true. That's pretty bad.
That's bad, but it's all innuendo. I mean, it's all hearsay, right? Or do we have evidence?
Oh yeah, they're making claims, but also, like, if you put a claim like that down, there's a lot of things that can be he said, she said. That can be proven. You're in a ballpark full of cameras, and there's people all over owner suites, right? Someone can either say, no, they were in the suite 50 times this year, or no, they weren't allowed. They had to sit somewhere else. I mean,
are the brothers part owners? Are his brothers part owners? Or are they just executors of the estate?
I think they are, but
Or
that
trust,
one I don't
trust.
know. You always ask me questions, then you go beyond that. I don't know, but I know they're running the trust. I know that the one in the family that has the most ownership stake, the biggest stake, I think in the team in general is Sheil. So she technically, I think, could be control. I don't understand this. Many fans were asking also on socials, like, isn't this completely figured out before, like in a will? And I guess not. I mean, money gets complicated at that level. I don't have any experience on that front. So
you would think he'd have a pretty tight will.
It's up to him. He gave her the highest stake. I guarantee you, if you told someone like him that she wasn't allowed in the owner's suite anymore, he would be fuming. So it sounds pretty bad, worse than I thought. So anyway, that's what I read. It's in an article. I read it last night. Alden Gonzalez of ESPN, and Evan Drellick wrote about it too. All right, we're coming right back. I'll get to a couple more fan questions. let's slap. You know what? I wanted to make sure I spend time on this. We only have a couple minutes left, but baseball lost a former player who was in the league not that long ago. 37-year-old Brian Matusz passed away. Beloved in the Baltimore community, spent basically his whole career with the Orioles. He was a big prospect for them, ended up coming up and being a bullpen guy for a while, and was on the team during their run with Adam Jones and Jonathan Scope and Tillman. The run when they had a pretty good team for 3, 4, 5 years. Buck Showalter was the manager. So it's one of those. I mean, I wasn't keeping track of what he was doing post-playing career, but super, super sad. And it's a player that I covered in Baltimore. I covered that playoff team a couple different times and had a really good time with them. Always super good with his time. Super nice, straightforward, well-liked there. So I didn't know him super well, but a player that I covered. So 37.
It's too young.
Awful.
Sad
Awful.
news. Too young.
Yeah. So thoughts are with the family. Really, really upsetting to hear the news. Adam's pretty shook right now as well. Adam Jones, our buddy. So thinking about everyone affected by this really sad news. So anyway, FT fam, I'll finish with one kind of more fun question. We got to hit the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Craig on YouTube said, give me a bounce back player for next year. Anyone got someone where you're like, he's going to be better?
Luis Robert Jr.
That's a good name. That's a good one.
Johnny DeLuca.
Well, you're invested in Johnny DeLuca. You have a signed rare Johnny DeLuca card. Not for sale.
Half his signature.
This is for sale. Kip, you want to buy this? It's not Pokemon, but it's close.
Can I see the signature?
It's half his signature.
Look at that signature.
What a lazy signature.
Nobody signs a J like Johnny.
Is it just a J? It's worth
Did he have to
more.
go somewhere midway through his signature?
Wait,
I don't know.
the errors are worth more.